Welcome. My name is Lauren Mantecon, and this class is for the love of process, a mixed media painting techniques from the ground up. I call this the alchemy of mixed media. And alchemy is not only external, meaning a plethora of materials that we'll be covering over this class, but alchemy is also internal. How we might get changed through making art. We're in a studio in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing and a little bit about myself. What I expect from myself and what you're all going to be getting is not to think that you need to grasp it all right away, because you can always go back and look at aspects of the video, and you can always email me, which is going to be on the website, of questions that you might have. Because my job in many ways is to confuse and confound, to get you out of certain ways that you might have worked in the past and not have this expectation that you need to be in technique. Because the way I teach is an ebb and flow of what I call structure and release. I give you a little bit of information, and in many ways, I want you to let go and forget it all so your creativity can come forward. I've been teaching for about 25 years, and if anything that I see my students walk away with that is of excitement to me is the idea of realizing what your limitations are and to be able to work within those limitations. And also another aspect is when you come up with making work and fear comes in, to not try to push the fear away, but to embrace it in many ways. Because when we're pushing something away, we stay there, pushing it away. But when we embrace it and allow ourselves to make really bad art, that's where our authenticity comes through. It's actually been shown that creativity is unlearned. There was a study by a man by the name of George Land, and he worked for NASA. And what he did is, over a course of 35 years, he did testing on creativity. So when children were 5 years old, 3 to 5, he tested creativity, and then over the years, every 5 years, he would do retesting. And it was shown that over time, creativity actually went down. So we want to know techniques, but then at the same time be able to be a child. Because something happens when we hit right around middle school. In middle school, what it is we start comparing ourselves to others. So here we are, 3, 5 years old, and we're making our scribbles, and we're working with color, and we're just doing these amazing works. And then all of a sudden in middle school, we get in class, and we notice that Alan over here is drawing feet better than I'm drawing feet. And so, oh my God, I can't do that. And so we stop. Something in us just thinks we can't do it. But if we were actually to just keep making a foot the way we make a foot, which might be completely out of proportion, but we do it over and over and over again, then we find that we connect with our creativity and our unique voice. So how I started making work was, I had an eating disorder many years ago living in Southern California, and my first degree is in conceptual photography. And in many ways, art saved my life. I was able to find an avenue to communicate deep fears, inhibitions, and a lack of trust in myself. So over time, after getting my degree in photography, I had moved to the Caribbean for a while in Mexico, and I brought all my photographic equipment with me, and I thought I was going to make photographs, but the refrigeration was bad and I couldn't get in a dark room. So I started collecting trash in the neighborhoods off the streets, and I started using my hands. I started making paper mache. I started painting with house paints that I found. And then I looked like the crazy lady on the street. The museum, the Museo de la Isla de Cozumel in Mexico, had asked me to do a show. So I did one called Madre Tierra. And then from there, I just started painting. And what used to be making work out of an angst became, over the years, maybe 10, 15 years, a sense of really looking for beauty and a connection to something higher than myself. My work's always been about the physical body, even though you look at the work and it's ethereal and it isn't the physical body, but it's that conduit between earth and spirit and what might be seen in between, the spaces that can be felt but can't be seen. If I was to stand really close to you, you know I'm in your space. And what does that look like? So it becomes about cells and organisms and beauty, and everybody has something that they want to communicate. And I would rather see a student or a workshop participant just fumble along for a while and make work than to know what it is right away, because it's not linear, it's organic. And the reason I work with so many materials is I have a very short attention span. So what I noticed, if I'm just painting, I get bored. But if I'm adding certain materials and I have what I call a counterpoint is something in juxtaposition to something else that might be opposite, like a piece of wood next to paper. It gives me more of a variety of materials to work through as something congeals, if that's a word, and becomes concrete. So I don't put my will onto a piece of paper and start creating. I might make marks, which is how I start, and then it becomes a relationship with the work itself talking with me. So it's a dialogue. So what we're going to be doing over the course of this class is I'm going to be showing you techniques that I've developed by trial and error over time. And we'll start from the ground up, working with wood panels and a little bit of paper with mark making, with dry materials, and then gradually building it into wet materials.